What is up, everybody? It is Alex, the Boogeyman here from Untitled Boxing Club in Rochester, New York. It's time for our focus point of the week, and who better to go to than our member of the month for August, Lisa. Lisa, tell us, what is your question? What's your focus this week?
Alex, what should my eyes be doing while I'm boxing?
That is an interesting question and something that we don't think about a ton, but it does have a lot of implication. What we do with our eyes when we're throwing punches, when we're doing defensive moves. I'm going to talk about some of the different ways that you may move, but what to do with your eyes and also what to do with that chin while you're boxing. All right, so in general, you want your eyes on your opponent, right? That makes obvious sense. You don't want to look away. When your opponent is the heavy bag, you want your eyes on the general target of the bag. But you got to be a little bit more specific sometimes because you don't want your chin up looking at the bag. You want the chin tucked in. So I'm kind of looking at it from more of a down view, or looking out the top of my eyes as my chin is down, my chin is tucked. You generally want to keep that chin tucked all the time. Now, when you're striking, sometimes you want to look more specifically at exactly where you're going to strike. So I'm going to the body, it makes sense that I would look to that body shot. If I'm going to the head, that I would look to that part of the head, the jaw that I'm striking. But you also want to keep your peripheral vision on what the target is doing, especially if it's a person, you want to watch their hand. And also if it is a person, I generally like to focus kind of right here on that, I believe it's the sternum area. I don't like to look people in the eyes directly when boxing. You can, certainly, but sometimes their eyes can trick you, or maybe they freak you out. But if you look here, you're less likely to go for fakes. You can kind of see where they're going. You can see with their hands. It gives you enough vision to see their whole body. It also naturally helps your chin get tucked because your focus point is a little bit lower than trying to look them in the eyes. That will lead to your chin coming up, especially if they're taller than you. So that's one thing with a person. Now in kickboxing, of course, you can start to trick people. You can look down at the ground and throw a high kick. People do that all the time. It's another reason don't like looking in the eyes when you're fighting someone. But, okay, so that seems logical and makes sense. But we do a lot of movements with our head and punches that would seem to take our eyes off the target. For instance, I see this a lot with slips. People slip and then they turn their head and shoulders and they're looking the other way. I'm looking over here now. You don't really want that though. You do want to turn your head and shoulders, but you want to keep your eyes focused on that target. Focus straight ahead. But sometimes it's natural to slip and you take your head way off line and your eyes go with it. But you want to keep your eyes looking ahead even when you slip. Same thing too when you roll. You don't want to come over here. I shouldn't be looking at you right now. If my target's the bag, I should be looking at this bag. We see it on hooks a lot too. And this is just a general thing of using your head to throw hooks, taking your head, and I'm certainly guilty of this too. I try not to. When you throw a hook, I don't want my head going all the way out there. I want to turn, but I want to stay looking over the top of my arm. So I am rotating, but I'm not pulling with my head to generate the power on that hook. So turning, looking over, same thing too. If you throw a cross down the middle, right? You want to rotate. I don't want to be looking over there, even though I really want to emphasize that rotation. Now, a good way to practice and say, well, what am I doing, is the mirror. If you do it in front of the mirror, look at yourself in the mirror, or look at yourself in a camera like I am, I can see if I'm slipping and I'm not staring straight ahead at my target, my opponent, I'll know. But if I always have to keep me in view, because I want to look at myself and make sure I don't look stupid, then it's going to help me keep my eyes on the target. So again, good question. Something to pay attention to this week. What are we doing with our eyes? What are we looking at? Looking at where we're striking on the bag, for sure, but keeping our peripheral vision open and making sure that chin is tucked. I want to focus on doing that too. It's a subtle thing, but very, very important and a great habit to get into. That's our focus point. That's the technique. Technique is everything, and technique is everything. Say it again.